Getting this stream started up just a teensy tad bit early so that we can maybe take a very quick look at the players' boxes before the match actually begins. Or the boxes that they used in previous matches. So, you probably know by now, I am eliminated from Apex Arena. I went out, my final score, top 64. My best previous position was top 256, so I never made it past the first round before, so I'm pretty pumped about my performance. Nothing to complain about, really. Not the greatest PvP player, but I do have fun and enjoy doing it, so I like to, I don't know, I like to have fun in these tournaments. In today's stream, since I'm free not to play, I'm going to be watching the game between Trinhuv and Junnie in Group K. And Junnie is my last remaining guildmate. Chung was also in, but he lost to Trinhuv yesterday. So this is kind of an interesting double whammy of Kong guildmate coverage. We'll see if Junnie can get revenge for Chung or not. I am just going to go ahead and bring up the chat to make sure I can see what y'alls are saying. And I will let my guild in particular know that the stream is about to begin. So bear with some typing. I figure if you can handle the sound of me pouring a drink for myself, you can handle a little bit of typing. Just like with drinking, it's also difficult to talk to you while typing something totally different. But it is important for my guild to feel like they can actually watch Junnie's match, because if he loses, they're all going to want to grill him and razz him on all the stupid plays that he made. Okay, so what do we got? Who's in here? Oh, I better actually open that so I can see. Good. Good, everyone. I know we're a little bit early, and I promised not to spend all of this pre-stream time typing. So let's go ahead now and jump in since we're here. Let's take a quick look at Junnie's last game against Will _, who's a very noted bulk god tank push kind of turtle player. But not the kind of turtle player who usually just camps out somewhere and hides around his tank. He can be aggressive when he wants to be. He just has lots of strong built units. So just saw from the preview there that Junnie beat him 2-0, so that's very intriguing. Let's take a look at what he was up against. Will definitely has a number of tanks in play here. And he has Oboro out, which is interesting. And Junnie has Zerida's in here. That's interesting. And he also added Oboro as well. This looks like a pretty... Other than Zerida and probably Sage, this looks like a pretty close to as meta box as it gets for this end of the season. But obviously it looks like Sage is in here. He does buff a lot of these units, and it gives Junnie a little bit of a tilt towards AoE if he wants to go that way. So let's see what box he ended up with. Oh, first picks Oboro. That's interesting. And he does get Sage. Now Sage buffs Oboro as well. And a lot of the Oboros that you tend to see, I mean, I know he just came out, but he's a little bit self-sufficient, so you often see him run without a buff. So the fact that Junnie's getting him with a buff, potentially scary. And Kruger as well for another AoE, also myth buff. So let's see what Junnie managed to do with this. I'm just going to quickly cycle through this because we don't really have time to watch another whole game before the live game starts. I just kind of wanted to get a feel for, before the stream starts, for anyone watching who maybe hasn't been religiously watching all the other games. So you can take a look at kind of what Junnie's working with here as he goes into the match against Trin. So he did manage to pick ban Will down to just having Auto as his tank. So we'll see Sanada in action here as a potential thick... well, Junnie doesn't have a tank either, so I don't know. Kruger putting himself out there. Oh, and Will's IBC just erases D-Heart right on turn 1. Kruger used an AoE just on her. He didn't want a single attacker, I guess. More debuffs this way. Okay, Sage with the pushback. Auto coming in. Sanada killed that Kruger. Sage doesn't quite kill Sanada there. Okay, we're gonna get some Oboro action here now. Well, that's interesting. So, this was Junnie's first 3 picks, right? He first picked Oboro, then he locked up Sage as the buffer, and he has his healer, of course. So, that pick-ban line worked out really well for Junnie in this game. Let's hit back to the menu because it looks like the game between Junnie and Trinhuv is about to get started, and that's the main event. That's what we're here for now. Campa cheering for Junnie. Nice to see it. Frozen, I'll have to go back and look at that game too, maybe after this game is over, and see what's going on with that Rio versus Auto that you're talking about. Okay, so we'll get a little first glance at the boxes. Junnie running Hilda and Landius. He's also got Sissy as another tank if needed. He's got Azusa in here. And Oboro. Lucretia, IBC. He's got a few assassins as well. I see Werner's been dropped, but he has Kyra, he has Cherie, he has Epsilon, he has Archon, who can be kind of an assassin depending on the opponent's box. Trinhuv does have a Hilda, though. So we'll see if Junnie wants to try to ban that Hilda or work around her. For Trinhuv's side, he has another pretty meta-looking box. Hey Jero, welcome to the chat. Things are just getting started here now, or hopefully getting started. Waiting for player to enter. It doesn't say which player. But I know both of these players were around before the battle was set to start. So let me just take a quick look in the guild chat. And see if Junnie's actually awake. That would be unfortunate, wouldn't it? It'd be a short match, and we'd have to switch over to watch something else. So the way this works, if you're unfamiliar, is when the match actually starts at 6, both players have 5 minutes to log in. So that's to help account for players being late or setting up or having to restart their phone or whatever they're playing on. So that clock has been ticking for 2.5 minutes now. It's not clear who we're waiting for, but there's about 2.5 minutes left before these players have to essentially check in and then the game can start. And once that happens, ban pick will begin and it's game on. So yeah, as I was saying, Trinhuv looks like he has a very meta box here. We've got D-Heart, Epsilon, Cherie, Werner, and Kyra as assassins. Kind of similar to my box, actually. We've also got a Himiko in here. We've got an Oboro in here. Yeah, everything else pretty standard looking. We got Watham. Yeah, Frozen, it would be really unfortunate to see a top 32 forfeit at this stage of the game, especially with how far these players have come and how hard they've worked to get here. Time zones can sometimes be a factor, though. Like, I know Junnie is... it's probably early in the morning for Junnie now. I think like 5 or 6 o'clock. Okay, good. Everyone's here. But it can definitely be difficult for Asian and European players with the time slots they give us for some of these things. Having to wake up first thing in the morning or play like in the middle of the night. So this is... Oh, interesting. Junnie just put in the guild chat. FYI, you can't switch box units after the match officially starts. So for him, it's 5 a.m. For me, it's 6 p.m. But what he probably did was log on. He was trying to make a couple last-minute box adjustments. But since the match had officially started, it wouldn't let him change anything. All it would let him do is sign into the match. Cucumber, welcome. Welcome to the chat. So while we've got another 20 seconds or so while we're waiting for the players to get started, let us know in the chat either who you think is going to win this match or who you're rooting for. I don't have any functionality set up for actual betting, but I think there are a lot of us who are watching these matches now who've watched quite a few over the course of the last bit. And maybe we have a horse in this race, or maybe we have an idea who we think is going to come out on top here. I think Junnie and Trin, this is a very interesting match, and one of the reasons I wanted to watch it is because they both play pretty standard meta boxes really well. So neither of them is like a gimmick AoE player, neither of them is like a total turtle player. They both kind of embraced the aggressive meta a little bit. So Trinhuv, right off the bat, first banning this Lucretia. And after that move, I would expect to see either an IBC first pick from Junnie, or potentially like an Epsilon first pick. We've got a couple people rooting for Junnie in the chat because of hating Himiko, that's fine. Okay, so Junnie is banning Hilda. What's that going to open up for him? Obviously it means... Okay, he's going with the first pick tank, so he does want to have a tank against Trinhuv's team here. So not fully embracing the full aggro trade meta. Not in this match, at least. We've seen a lot of players doing that who've reverted back to playing with tanks in the playoffs, which kind of makes sense. It's a bit of a safer strategy. Trinhuv going with first pick Epsilon. So it does give him a way to circumvent this tank pick. Landius does kind of foil assassins a little bit, not quite in the same way that Hilda does, in the sense that he doesn't outright block a crit, but he does reduce incoming damage a bit. So still a little bit of an annoyance for enemy assassins. Landius also buffs a couple of these odder units, so like Archon, for example. So Junnie leading into some more scary DPS bans here. So, as we saw just before this match started, Junnie went with first pick Oboro against Will. And I wonder if he's going to be doing some hard work against Trinhuv as well. I think Oboro can work against an aggro box. Rather than relying on your Oboro to help you get around tanks or get around defensive formations, you can set up your Oboro back in a corner and hope that it will prompt your opponent to play a little bit sloppier as they kind of try to rush to knock him off. Maybe break up their positioning a little bit or make a riskier trade. So Junnie, I have a feeling Junnie just wants to play this Oboro because he has pretty strong full moon rolls on him. But it does give him an option of kind of using him to bait rough play from Trin. Trin getting Oboro out as well. So this is going to be a showcase of the new units, if nothing else. Well, I guess the Azusa was banned, so it's going to be the Oboro versus Oboro Osho. Junnie is letting Trin narrow down the DPS available to him. Right now he just got a tank, a healer, and an Oboro. Okay, so he does get his Kyra out. He doesn't need to worry about ignoring guard. This is strictly a rangy magical threat. I haven't looked at Trinhuv's Oboro, so I don't know if it's a strong, like, defensively built full moon Tiamat Oboro that this Kyra might have a hard time killing. Latonin, yes, that's true. I was actually playing those games while driving, so I didn't get to focus as much as I would have liked to. It's kind of funny to go to the last turn and go to like a damage decision against someone like Whir, so I was pretty proud of myself. Chung thinks that this Trinhuv Oboro is the squishy Lancer build. Let's see. Yes, Cucumber, I just got back today, so this is my first day back in the studio. Okay, so Trinhuv did get the Himiko out. That was something that I was a little bit worried about. I mean, Trin still did have a lot of threats in his box that could potentially be scary for Junnie's Landius. Landius himself can't be pushed, but Himiko will be able to push these other units around. Trinhuv may not opt to bring the push. He may opt to bring the sealing technique as well. But Himiko is just a nightmare on this map in general. So for all the Himiko haters in the chat who were cheering for Junnie just because of that, it looks like you're going to get to see your grudge match in action. Junnie versus a deployed Himiko. So the players are now choosing their position and choosing their troops and skills. We don't get to watch that. It wouldn't be fair in case there were any spies in the stream. My stream itself is not delayed, but this whole spectate mode has a built-in delay in the game. So if you're watching the spectate, like on your tablet, that is going to be like 30 seconds or 60 seconds behind what the players are actually doing. So we do have a fairly balanced box on Junnie's side. He's got a tank, he's got a healer, Kyra can heal, T-Jess can heal as well. Oboro kind of can heal himself once he gets rolling. Trinhuv with a fully aggro box here with 2 assassins, IBC to help enable. She's also dangerous in her own right. Himiko, dangerous, and Oboro. So let's see what they brought. Yeah, T-Jess with Strengthen. Landy has opted to go for Templars. The Kyra has Faceless. She also brought Gospel. No flying troops on the Epsilon, so that's fine. That's a trade-off people often have to make on this map. If they want the Epsilon to have more mobility, they'll put Gargoyles on him so he can go on these sky tiles. But the zombies are way stronger troops, so you sacrifice that mobility to have a more powerful Epsilon. D-Heart did bring his mini faction buff. Himiko did bring sealing technique, so she won't be pushing anyone. So this is going to be a fairly straight battle, and I think the onus is going to be on Junnie. He only has a couple DPS, especially since one of them is going to be frozen for a while, so he's going to have to hope that he can pick off these 5 threatening units before Trinhuv can close in and take out his own win cons. Yeah, this looks like it's got like 200 less defense than Junnie, 10,000 HP. Junnie's has 14, so yeah, that's probably an attack build. Chung, that's a very interesting question. I think Junnie has one of the strongest all-in defensive Oboros on the server, so we will see what it takes to kill it. It's certainly possible that Trin's game plan is going to involve weakening the team up with some other kind of pre-attack, either an AoE from this Himiko. Yeah, we'll have to see exactly how Trinhuv hopes to open up this defensive formation. Only having a couple of active DPS does make it difficult for Junnie to get rid of this Himiko right away too, because he has no AoEs. He has to double hit her essentially with single target attacks. So that basically takes his entire roster of DPS just to get rid of a Himiko. So Trin might be able to overwhelm Junnie's offenses when he gets all of his attacking units into position. Thank you, Pete. I'm kind of over it already. The stats at the end of my video made me feel slightly better, because even though the results weren't the units that I was looking for, the rates weren't terrible. And the off-banners were not useless off-banners, like it wasn't like 6-star launch units or whatever, so, I mean, felt bad at the time, but I'm over it. I'm over it. I'm over that, and I'm over not being in the playoffs. I'm just gonna play with spreadsheets for the next few weeks and try to design a fun team to ladder with in Season 11. So Junnie is already sinking into his backup time a little bit. Something he might want to be careful of if this game ends up being longish. Latonin, there's no actual news about it yet, but so we're going to have the Gintama collab coming up whenever it comes up in a few months. After that, we don't know what's happening in the future, but if they do, after that, like, fresh collab, if they do a rerun of a collab, Cold Steel should be the next one in line. I would expect that to be maybe 1 or 2 months after Gintama. We'll see. This Epsilon just trying to hang out of Kyra's range in case she could get in and hit him with a Hail Mary. So he's buffing up back here. How does Oboro versus Oboro work? I'm not 100% sure, Pete. I have only deployed my Oboro in a couple matches, and I didn't face an enemy Oboro. Alright, Trin's already getting into position to have a little combo potential here, so Junnie's going to have to be careful. I mean, Kyra will heal herself and one other person after the Himiko AoE, but that doesn't help the entire team. Alright, Jess is just going to save this Kyra. and try to save herself. Being on his back foot up there in the corner can get dangerous, so Junnie's already feeling the pressure from this combo potential here. I'm really interested in seeing how Trin's planning on opening this up. Junnie can't stay back in the corner forever. But the good news is, when the time comes to move out, he has a pretty good shot at hurting someone. There's no tank here. Yeah, and taking advantage of Junnie only having single target moves, Epsilon's able to come up. He's going to be probably in reserve here, potentially until 1 or 2 units die. He has no stacks right now. I certainly think that attempting an Oboro assassination with no stacks probably wouldn't end well. But yeah, see, Junnie can't keep moving backwards. And Trin can only get so close before Trin's the one who's actually opening with damage. So if you're just waiting for units to get into your range, Trin's hanging out back here, just happy to keep that pressure on Junnie. So this Kyra's not killing anything this turn. Let's see if Trin ends the turn with Himiko's 3C. And that would force Junnie to have to decide to open the turn with a heal. I mean, it probably wouldn't be a very difficult decision. He's going to have to. Junnie almost down to 100 seconds of backup time already here in Game 1. He's eager to get this Oboro activated, I think. I suppose that's the thing, right? I've been concerned about this stalling back in the corner. But part of the Oboro play here okay, so Kyra hit herself and Liana with the healing, leaving Oboro injured, which could be dangerous. Liana with 0 move for the next 2 turns. She can dispel it. Landy is not guarding currently. Remains to be seen how devastating that Himiko 3C is going to be. We have 2 Oboros in action here, Mew. Which one's your favorite? Well, maybe we'll have a Oboro versus Oboro turn 12 fog match just for you. Alright, it's follow-up time for Trin. Whoa! Whoa! Actually does kill the Liana, forces the revive from Glory of the World thanks to these hot tiles. Yeah, she only revived there because it was fixed damage that killed her. And this Himiko still has her teleport in play. So there's no good way for Junnie to punish that. I wonder if he pops Himiko, would she teleport to here? See, this is the thing about Himiko with a full single target team and only 2 active DPS. Like, if he wants to move Tejas up, tap Himiko, hope that it sends her within Kyra range, and then he has to send his Kyra out as well to finish her. That would put her outside guard range, not like Landius is guarding right now anyway, so... Liana takes the silence from her ninjutsu buff, or debuff. Thankfully, Landius does have her Ode, so he'll be doing a little bit of healing for the next turn. Okay, he is going to take the Himiko. He can teleport back and heal. That strips Liana's silence, that's nice. It also means that Landius is guarding again. But Epsilon has a stack now. All told, the Himiko wasn't too disruptive. It did eat a couple of Junnie actions. It ate a lot of Junnie backup time, and it stacked up Epsilon. But Himiko at least is off the table here. Alright, let's see what D-Heart's going to get up to. Is this going to kill Kyra? It should. Yeah. And stuns the Liana. Poor Liana is just soaking up all these nasty debuffs. Landius actually fully finishes him off, though. Body blocks this Epsilon a little bit as well. Junnie's game plan now, honestly, is just to keep this Oboro alive until he can fully transform. And then hope that Oboro can carry. And then we'll see if he has to worry about this attack Oboro. So for Junnie, even if Landius goes down here, it's not the end of the world. Interesting note for Trinhuv's side, he only has 3 units left, so he needs all 3 of these units to be alive if he wants to continue to be able to use IBC's buffs. So he may want to... Oh no, he's going in with IBC right away. I was going to say, he may want to position these units, get them stacked up so that he can get the attack buff on them when she's ready. But I think he just wants to kill this Landius. Yeah, the Hail match, you can view it in-game. So as long as you have an account, you can just open up Apex Arena and go in and watch just the same way that I'm watching this Junnie match. I'm not sure if any other streamers have it on. I know a couple of the other guys on main cord were talking about streaming, but I don't think they mentioned it being the Hail game. T-Jess fully finishes that IBC off. Okay, Junnie's looking like in a good position here now. He still has to worry about this fully stacked up Epsilon being able to take this Oboro down. But with IBC dead, he no longer has access to her as a source of buffs, so it's just going to be his own faction buff. And he's able to position himself so he can hide. Right in Junnie's face, knowing that Junnie can't really get that Oboro out of there now. So this is probably going to be the crux of the match, if Oboro can survive against this Epsilon or not. Landius is still bringing his aura to the table here. Even though he's not going to be able to guard against either Epsilon or Oboro. At least there's an aura. Not 100% sure what enchant Junnie has on his Landius. Oh, flying. Did he manage to sneak onto a sky tile and get out of this range for now? Yeah, I don't think Epsi can reach. If Epsilon could get here, he could have reached him, but since he's a walking Epsilon, he can only go here. Alright, so we have a light Oboro and a dark EOL Oboro. Trin running Oboro back. He's going to hang out and hopefully be a carry on Trin's side as well. But for now, this Epsilon can't really do anything. I mean, I guess he can kill whatever, it's just not the Oboro. But I don't think Trin's going to want to blow that. Yeah, no, he's going to run back and refresh his faction buff instead. So now it really becomes a game of closing the gap. Minding Epsilon and Oboro's threat range while trying to kill one of them with your Oboro. With no backup time. Oh, that's stressful. I know what those big flashing numbers look like coming up in your face. Alright, he is keeping his Oboro safe. For now. And you're right, Cucumber, he may be looking for a teleport play. The question is, with that teleport play, I mean, you can only take out one of these super scary DPS at a time. Okay, Oboro's coming in. This is... Oh, it's a counter kill! Oboro kills himself against that T-Jess. Wow. So, Trinhuv needs this Epsilon to kill that Oboro. Oh, well, Chung, there was no one for an explosion to happen on. So, I don't know, there's two explosions, I guess, that Oboro can do. One is his 3C does an area explosion after it goes off, but since he was dead, there's no explosion. And there's no, like, on-death explosion because the unit that he would have done it on was also already dead. I guess this is the moment of truth. Trinhuv needs to kill this Oboro. Oh, and he isn't able to kill it. And that's game. That game was solely won on the back of Junnie's absurdly rolled defensive full moon Oboro. He survived with, what, 1,000, 2,000 hit points? And it was because of those enchants. Wow. So first, Junnie got banned from Discord for flaunting that overpowered enchant, and then he won his first playoff match against Trinhuv with it. I would not be surprised if we see Trin potentially switch to banning an Oboro. The downside there is then he has to let something else equally scary like Lucretia through. Oh no, Frozen, I should clarify that. He didn't get actually banned, but he did get lots of ban cat emojis spammed at him. So let's see if there are any adjustments to the backup box. Vermilion, don't worry, there's still lots of action. So Junnie did win Game 1, but there's a whole Game 2 left and possibly a Game 3, so lots of Junnie games, lots of Trin games, and in the really unlikely event that these games finish quickly, we can check out some of the other matches that are still happening as well. I don't necessarily see Junnie significantly changing up his box. Now, I do note that Kruger and Sage aren't in here, so if he wants to kind of throw a wrench into Trin's planning, he may try to bring them up and slide more towards an AoE-capable strat. But the first game worked really well for him. And as player 2, I think he may be just as comfortable sticking with a more defensive setup. So we do see the Himiko go down and the Archon come up. And Junnie drops the Azusa, who we didn't get to see in action, and brings up D-Heart. Trinhuv going with the first pick Epsilon again. It makes sense, and sticking with banning Lucretia, which also makes sense for his box. He doesn't really want to face Lucretia. Now we may see this pick ban go fairly similar to the last one. We'll see if Junnie sticks with Landius, or if the presence of that Archon, yeah. Switching up his first tank pick to Hilda, just in case. It prevents the displacement, takes Archon kind of off the table a little bit. But she does prevent one crit. It's easy to trip that off and then follow up with something else, whereas Landius's aura is gone now. And the Oboro does eat a second ban, so Trinhuv doesn't want to deal with that nonsense in this game. We'll see what other sneaky tricks Junnie has up his sleeve now. The last couple games we've seen have really been the Oboro show, so does Junnie have anything else he can work with? Trinhuv potentially gearing up for some dismiss spam against Hilda in the middle of the map, not sure. But Sissy has a lot of things that she can do. I mean, she can just use one of her summoned units to pluck that anti-crit aura off Hilda before following up with a real unit. Junnie banning the Oboro as well, so both players kind of tired of that after the first game, having to count around Oboro's nonsense. But Junnie does get IBC out, so who's he going to have left that he can buff with her? Okay, Trinhuv looking like he's reverting back to a much more balanced defensive style. So he's got Hilda to tank, possible secondary tank, and a main healer here in Sissy. And the winner of this match moves on to the top 16. Now, I know Junnie has been in the top 16 a couple of times really early in the game's life. Like maybe Season 2, Season 3. Trinhuv, I think, has topped out in the top 32, so this is currently as far as he's gotten in the past. Junnie figuring out how he's going to play around this Hilda now. Jero picking Sissy instead of Hilda by accident. Well, at least you still kind of get a tank out of it. Trin with the D-Heart again. Junnie, we may see D-Heart coming into action for Junnie as well. Another tank is kind of dead. Archon's kind of dead against this Hilda, so really D-Heart is his main DPS option. He may also want to lock up a healer while he still can. Yeah. And the DPS getting banned out. So Junnie's going to have to either go with another tank or another healer. I think Sissy's the easy choice here, just because it gives him another act again. Like I said, a whole bunch of different things that Sissy can do. Elwyn, generally not super useful against Hilda, but it is a strip, so he can remove several buffs from her as part of a combo with something else. Alright, so the players are going to be setting up their positions, setting up their troops, and setting up their skills. I don't think we'll see anything particularly surprising in terms of skills for either player. I suppose the main question is going to be, are these sissies bringing Dismiss? Oh, I just love Dismiss. It's such a nasty skill. Junnie is lower on DPS, so he may need something like Dismiss to help him combo with another real DPS. The other thing is, Junnie already has some main healing taken care of, so he can sacrifice a skill slot for Dismiss. So we may very well see Dismiss on Junnie's side at least. And then for Trinhuv, it really depends on how much healing he thinks he's going to need that Sissy to do. Yeah, you're right, Jero. There's not really a good weapon on Junnie's side for killing this, unless the Hilda's already dead. In that case, then maybe IBC can strip his shield and kill him. I don't think Trinhuv is going to leave Epsilon dangling out vulnerable to that attack, though, so Junnie really has to get through this Hilda somehow. There's nothing here that can really mess with Trinhuv's positioning. So it may be a kill the tank type match for Junnie, which is not going to be easy when you've got Epsilon and D-Heart both on Trinhuv's side ignoring guard and picking away at your units. Fully loaded Hilda on Trin's side with both guards and faction buff. Epsilon bringing both attack skills, so he doesn't figure he's going to be hiding. So probably Epsilon will be sticking with the tank and or tanks. Yeah. Trinhuv went full heal on his Sissy. You're right, it's possible that that Junnie could get... Well, Junnie didn't bring the AoE on his ham, but he could still get stacks on Trin's units by killing... Well, Hilda, really. And he did bring Dismiss, so that makes sense. Everything's making sense here. Everything's making sense. Yeah, I think the risk of bringing AoE on Ham is that then he wouldn't have a single target skill to either try to bring the Hilda down or secure a kill after the guard ignore. So this looks hard for Junnie. Oh, someone's dying out there. Didn't sound like a Doberman. Yeah, it looks hard for Junnie, and I also don't see Trinhuv just yeeting his units. He knows that Junnie has to be able to crack through his formation, so I'd be very surprised if he sends this Elwyn out. Well, especially the Elwyn. But even the D-Heart, sending these units out to get kills and leaving them vulnerable. He doesn't need to do that. He can hang with his team, wait till they get a bit closer together, and then just pick away at Junnie while Junnie's still trying to deal with the tank. There's a breeze on the Epsilon, but it's not going to matter right now because, like I said, I don't think Trinhuv is going to be in a big rush to send units forward. He has all the time in the world to get kills. Elwyn just getting into intimidation position. Yeah, that's right. Playing the talent reset. It's tricky. It's a tricky thing to keep your eye on. Alright, we've got our Windride Ham on the tower, right where he wanted to be. Is this going to bait Epsilon to come out of Hildegard range? Will we see the Epsilon who failed the Oboro kill fail a Ham kill? Okay, so Epsilon hanging back. Hanging back, waiting for his opportunity. Yeah, I think you're right, Kampa. The only reason I can see to hoard your turn 1 coins is if you're planning, like, an act again on this turn, but Trin doesn't really have a reason to do that here. Alright, we're getting the Cav play. But Hilda was immune to debuffs from Liana's Ode. I mean, so all that does is it gets rid of the anti-crit cooldown, which is fine. Is this what Ding is talking about? He's hoping to go in with D-Heart here now? Now that she can't refresh her anti-crit yet? Is D-Heart getting all the way in there? Like, who's his victim here? Yeah, Epsilon stacks, that's true too, although I don't think Epsilon's in a huge rush to build up stacks. They're gonna be coming. She's in range now, isn't she? Junnie just moved her up. Yeah, Junnie just moved her up. No anti-crit aura. Soldier defense up. I wonder if Trin is going to take that play. I don't think he went into that move planning for this to be available, because it was up to Junnie to get her into position. Okay, it looks like he is going to go for it. So he's gonna crit. Oh! Gets her with the sneak attack. Yeah, so unfortunately Junnie kind of handed that IBC over. Act again on the Ham. Now Ham could go for the D-Heart to make it a trade. But that opens him up to getting Elwind next turn. Oh, unless he's on boots and can run back. Yeah, so he's back into guard range at least. So Ding sees the move, 2 moves in advance, and then Junnie lines the pieces up to make it happen. Good eye, Ding. Well, that's a great trade for Trinhuv, because IBC was one of Junnie's 2 DPS units, a big stripper, and a danger to an unguarded Epsilon, and now she's gone. All Junnie has left is this ham, with his single target attack skill on a 5-turn cooldown. Meanwhile, on Trin's side, Dehart already did his job, and he still has another guard-ignoring unit, so he's not too sad about losing that Dehart. Yeah, occupy mid. Occupy mid is tough, though, with Junnie's team. Ding presenting that as a possible strategy for Junnie to still win this game. It's hard to occupy mid against an Epsilon. Especially when there are 9 turns left. That would be the hope, Chung. And then rely on having 2 healers to be able to keep everyone healthy so that Trinhuv Epsilon can't combo or take advantage of combo. It's certainly something in Junnie's arsenal. Part of the reason he would have picked this Wind Ride. Defensive formation is going to be wearing off very soon, so it's not going to come into play in an attrition game. Yeah, it's funny, the more this match goes on, the more I see Junnie sneakily put some pieces in position for himself before the game even started with Wind Ride and Dismiss. He just needs to hope that he's able to survive Epsilon. If he can, then he can definitely potentially stall. This slightly cracks last rites. Trin hoping to kind of dictate Junnie's turn order a little bit there. He knows he wants to keep Watham at full health. No summons this turn. And no sense in going for the Elwyn from Junnie's perspective, because Hilda's protecting him from it, and Elwyn has a revive anyway. Junnie taking up some backup time trying to decide what he wants the direction of this match to go. Both players very evenly matched in damage. Better be careful though, Junnie. You don't want to be on flashing 15 seconds backup time when you're trying to stall out in the middle of the map. I think he was taking some time to maybe overthink this Hilda anti-crit stack situation again. He may have been worried that if he ended Hilda's turn, then that could get plucked off to open an Epsilon follow-up here. That's just a spiteful dismiss, I guess, to build up some damage. The Elwyn is under guard, so Junnie can't really make a play at it right now. Okay, here comes the first attempt on this Cat Ham. Nowhere close. That wasn't with the 3C though, that was just with Onslaught. And he did move before doing it, so it didn't do full damage. Yeah, that's not the most dangerous. Once Ham's going to be losing his troop defense here when he takes his action. The IBC stack is going to be gone for good. And Hilda's stack is currently down until she goes again. Yeah, so her crit ore is off. He's definitely saving the more ideal circumstances for the bigger attack. So that's the next thing Junnie has to be careful of here. We're about to have a more vulnerable Ham facing a scarier Epsilon assault. And Junnie hiding the Ham on the other tower, knowing that that's the case. Alright, Epsilon's coming for it anyway. Let's see if it works. No. So that is a tapped out Epsilon. Faction buff is down, so he needs some time to get back into shape. And Junnie's Tower Ham is still looking pretty safe. We've also got the sword here eating up another space in the middle of the map. Junnie dismissing Epsilon and then blocking up more of the mid with another one of these little summons. Yeah, so Trin is going to have to rescue this Epsilon somehow. Yeah, so far Junnie looking very good in the mid-game of this match. Thinking ahead, thinking of the map. And he definitely knew that stalling out in the middle was going to have to be a potential play for him. So Trinhuv getting his own disposable Lancer in there to temporarily guard Epsilon, a smart play. Ham not able to kill this Lancer with a potentially greedy just auto attack there. The sword does heal him back up to full, but this Lancer is still sticking as a thorn in his side. Hilda running into the same problem, not able to finish that Lancer off with a single attack. Yeah, one more turn until the big single target attack is back. Okay, Junnie does kill the Lancer. He had to move his Hilda slightly out of position to do it. Out of position. Not that I think this square is necessarily going to be like a saving grace for Trinhuv, but it will let the sword get killed, for example. Well, Jero, Dismiss will go a long way to helping him in that front, if it comes to a damage race. Also, the fact that if Junnie maintains his current position, Trin's only going to have like 2 units in the middle at best. So Junnie will be able to shell out damage with more units. Okay, Elwyn is going for it, it looks like. He's going to try to take this square. So it kills the Lancer. That does open up another spot in mid for Trin. Junnie's Ham and Hilda are both on the outside here. If anything, it's kind of to Trin's benefit now, keeping this sword alive, eating up a spot. Okay, shield is popped. But Hilda is now planted in one of the safe squares. So yeah, Junnie has to kill this Elwyn now to dislodge him and get one of his own units in there. Vermilion, there's no real reason not to use the 3C after doing that move, because you're guaranteed to get it back once. Okay, Elwyn is going to go ahead and get rid of the sword. It just refills his health. He's still not in guard range, but it means that Junnie's not going to be able to take him out this turn. Hilda's gonna have to be guarding soon. This Hilda's not guarding, you're saying, Chung? Interesting. Her anti-crit is down as well. And Annihilation's up, and the attacking square is from a tower. We may see Junnie, well... Just because she's not guarding, she has passive guard up. Oh, is she passive disabled as well? Oh, she does have the... She does have the ham stack. Oh, that's interesting. This becomes a scary moment for Junnie with 2 seconds of backup time. Does he want to go for the slightly riskier play, or does he want to play it safer and just hole up in the middle, waiting for his chance? With that Hilda move, it looks like he's going to go with the latter. He's going to hole up and wait in the middle. Ooh, that's a lot of damage on Hilda. Junnie might not be in great shape. I guess he could go down here and hit it and then move back with boots. He uses Act again to keep Sissy alive instead. Trin wants to go first with Hilda to clear those stacks. Okay, so Epsilon is safe again. Epsilon safe again. Ham slightly less safe, but the danger is if Junnie moves here with Ham, then he's not on that tower anymore. So he does have kind of a limited window if he wants to keep taking advantage of the towers. Because the fog's a-coming. And the fog's going to be eating those towers. Yeah, Ding, I think he may have been looking for that, but he's got like 2 seconds of backup time, so the time pressure may have been clouding his judgment. Yeah, after that last exploratory tap on Sissy, Trinhuv knows that that Epsilon's going to be able to finish her off there. He's got his shield back, he's got 4 stacks, he's under guard. Elwyn running away. He doesn't want to attack because he'll heal himself to death. But he can wait that debuff off and then come back into attack. He'll heal himself back up. Oh, we've got a Trin fan in the chat. Nice. Welcome to the chat. Alright, and now we've got a solid 3-and-3 setup here in the middle of the map. 2 Hildas, 2 healers, and an Epsilon and a Ham. Yeah, I think Sissy was really Junnie's big endgame win con, more so than Ham, because he's got no dismiss now. He's down a healer. He's down and act again. Now it's definitely going to be tough for him to catch up in the damage race, especially with his positioning the way it is. Should have played better and gotten clock. Yeah. That's a very common mistake, Jero, is people neglecting to clock their skills. Yeah, this is going to be a tough one now for Junnie. He had it. He probably had it if he was able to kill Epsilon last turn. But when you've got 2 seconds of backup time, it can be tough to keep track of everyone's debuffs. Well, that means I'm probably looking at another 40 minutes before I can go up and eat my chicken that's waiting so patiently up there for me. Trin dropping an attack command for his Epsilon. The little walking attack command. What a cutie. Oh, ouch. Ham taking way more counter damage there than damage dealt. Thanks to those monks. That alone is probably the nail in the coffin. I guess if Junnie can AA combo and kill it, but Trinhuv can just heal it back up. And then he's looking at the exact same situation. Smack it again, take way more counter damage again. Alright, our little walking attack command bravely sacrificed himself to give Epsilon his shield back. Possibly roared something off here. She's not guarding. Not that that matters to Epsilon. Doesn't quite kill the Liana. He's attacking into 100% health Shrine Maidens, thanks to Glory of the World. Keeping her topped up. She's not 100% anymore, though. Epsilon does have his 3C now. Not yet. Ham, I think, is skillless right now. He'll have Alhazard after this action. Yeah, a single auto attack is not going to eat through this pile of monks. He does more damage to Hilda than he does to Sissy, and it's not going to be enough to catch up either. But, from Junnie's perspective, there's always a chance that Trinhuv disconnects in the next 2 turns. Yeah, I don't think that's actually a risk for Trin. Get a very tiny splash of AoE damage out there, and then another attack into this Hilda. A little bit more damage that time. Still not, like, catch up on the damage disadvantage numbers with 1 turn left to go. Oh, there's that helicopter's back. Helicopter didn't want to miss the stream. Still not able to take the Liana down, but it is another giant chunk of damage. And with only 1 turn left, Junnie needs to either deal 100,000 damage unanswered, or kill 4 units. So this one's in the books, my friends. This one's in the books. I mean, at the very least, by staying in the game, maybe Junnie hopes to gain, like, tilting Trinhuv and make him angry. So one Hilda life is down. Junnie has no actigans, though. He literally only has a Hilda action. Liana finally dies. Go ahead and back out, Junnie. There you go. There you go. On the very last action, he concedes. Yeah, that could have been a close one. Could have been a close one. He had, like, one stray little dangling opportunity to kill that unguarded Epsilon, and I don't think he noticed it. He was low on backup time, probably not religiously searching the debuffs. But even from ban pick, that one looked like it was going to be a pretty tough match for Junnie. So the fact that, he had one kind of wasted opportunity to do it is pretty good. So it all comes down to this one. Game 3, it's a whole fresh match. We'll see how ban pick goes, and maybe Junnie will have a better game this time. This match has convinced you to train Epsilon? Not... Oh, wow. I mean, Mr. Sad. Epsilon's a monster. He was a little bit of a soft build right when he first came out, because that was before we knew about the giant zombie soldiers and before we knew about his exclusive sword. But we got the news about both of those things pretty close together, and as soon as we put all the pieces together, Epsilon's been an Apex mainstay ever since. So yeah, definitely build up your Epsilon. He's a scary unit. Alright, so... Yeah, Cucumber, I mean, not that I think that he's going to fall out of boxes, but if the meta ever did shift back towards full AoE again, then it's certainly possible that he becomes less useful because he doesn't like getting AoE'd. Right, S-Dow. He won't go anywhere in a single target Sin meta. The question is, how long does the single target Sin meta last? Alright, Junnie, demoralized by that last game, has completely tilted his box. He's brought Himiko, Kruger, Autocrato back up for a bit of an AoE line. He's also got his Werner and his Illustrial in here. This is a good Illustrial map, not one of her best. But he also dumped one of his tanks, 2 of his healers, and Archon. So he's going to be going for more of an aggro trade style setup here. First picking IBC also goes along with that. The first ban on Rosenseal also supports him if he wants to tilt to AoEs and debuffs here. So Kruger, Himiko are scary now. Ham's always scary. The Lucretia and the Auto are banned, though, of course. And we'll see how Junnie plays with no tank. There's no Sissy. He dropped her to the backup box, so she won't be able to provide a temporary tank for him either. We've got the IBC and Kyra 1-2 punch, though. So this is a really nice part of the aggro trade kind of meta from earlier in this laddering season. Trinhuv, though, has the box for it, and he's good at it as well, so we'll see. It's just going to come down to who can execute. I wouldn't be at all surprised to see Kruger come out. Okay, there he is. Junnie's probably not going to want to fight Kyra with his Kruger on the field. Probably also doesn't want to fight Lucretia while tankless. I don't recall whether we got a look at Trinhuv's ham. We know that Junnie's was on boots. Yeah, that was Junnie's ham that was on boots. Alright, Trinhuv secures the healer to try to mitigate a little bit of this. Alright, and Junnie breaks out the Oboro again. He's got some trees to hide on. It's a nice map for him here. Oh, Trinhuv does get the Kyra as well, so Kruger's going to be a little bit nerfed from that perspective. She can heal up the AoE damage. She also does some healing and debuff removal with her skills. And he's got a healer. So this is going to end up being a little bit more of a nuisance. He does do a lot of AoE damage in his own right, though. Mew is back just in time for a double oboe. So we've got a little symphony of oboes happening here again. 2 healers, 2 Kyras, and then the difference really comes down to an IBC and Kruger on the one side versus a Ham and an Epsilon on the other side. We did have Oboro mirror match in Game 1 as well. And as I was saying then, Oboro is not necessarily a bad pick without tanks or against no tanks, because you can still use him to try to throw your opponent off their game if they end up trying to rush in to kill him. You know, not be patient and wait for the right opportunity. I agree with Ding, though. I think this Rosenseal pick is a little bit odd for a last pick there, especially against, well, I mean, it's good against the Ham, but then you've got a bunch of single target here. So having Werner in there as another weapon and another trade option would have been pretty strong. So I'm going to assume Junnie has a game plan for Rosenseal. Should you get Transcender or Mew? If possible, neither of those are super great options. So we've got a standard Kruger here. It's just Miracle for Rose and Seal. Double attacks on the Kyra. Is it possible to make Kurama work in high-end PvP? I mean, anything's possible, but he's not great for high-end PvP. You'd have to have kind of a box designed around making him work, and hope you run into opponents that he works against, which maybe for low-level PvP, but not for, like, these playoff-level guys, no. We do have the Air Slash on this ham. We've got Gospel and Faith on the Kyra with Source. Okay, Oboro finds his little treehouse. That's fine. Is Egbert better than Kurama? I think Egbert is better than Kurama. Yeah, Pete, that's one of the things I said before Oboro even came out, is people are hyper-focused on this idea of protecting him and keeping him safe for 4 turns. The fact is, he does gather buffs up for those first few turns, so if you need to use him, or you want to use him, or pivot to make a play, you can transform him before the 4th turn. You just won't have the guard disable, which, in this match, the guard disable isn't even really going to come into play, at least on Trinhuv's side. For Junnie, he will have to worry about a Lancer guard over here. We'll see what this Rose and Seal ends up doing for Junnie, because yeah, I'm worried about that pick and him having 1 fewer DPS. Werner's so good too. Kazemi, the chat is going by a little quick, so I might have to scroll back and see what units you have, but if you've got that bag, then you might want to consider someone like Lucretia. She's super versatile and super strong. Or if there are any units you need to unlock bonds on any of those strong units you're already using. Yeah, I think the closest we'll see to Kurama being competitive is probably when Lonebird starts putting him in his Strategic Masters box. I know he was hoping to summon him to complete the Strategic Masters collection, but I wasn't 100% sure. I don't recall hearing if he got him already or not. Cucumber, why aren't you playing Apex? Season 11 is going to be coming up in a couple weeks, and that's going to be a great time to start playing again. Yeah, the Season 11 frame is pretty sweet. I personally like the Season 10 frame too. Mingzilla. There are a couple ways to go for Oboro. Lancer is one of the good builds for him. Junnie, it's kind of a long story. The different ways in which you can build Oboro. There's a strong, highly defensive stacking build that Oboro can do in his Lancer class. So instead of using like Last Rites and Yggdrasil Wreath, for example, you use heavy armor, heavy helmet to build his defense up as much as possible. With Full Moon, like Junnie's, is quite well enchanted, and it makes him very hard to kill by assassins. I guess you could use Tiamat, for example, to make him more immune to Kyra. Lancers you'll often also sometimes see, I guess I shouldn't say often, it might be half and half, but you'll see people throw like carbon fiber armor, carbon fiber helm on them and just try to build their attack up as much as possible to get counter kills with his suicide explosion. But because Global currently has a fascination with really defensively built bulk god characters, a lot of the players that I'm watching have been going for that Full Moon build. Mine is on the carbon fiber build because it was easier for me to make. The Kyra banner, Mr. Sad, should come back someday, but with the rotation of crossovers, like they'll kind of have to get through the rest of the crossovers first before they get back to her, and then there's new units and new crossovers in there as well. So, you know, it's going to be another year at least before we see Kyra again. I'm just so glad there's a Yu Yu Hakusho fan in the chat. Epsilon biding his time back here, waiting for the right opportunity. He does have a breeze, but he's also at the very back of the map. This is such an interesting fog-hugging match. Well, here's the thing, though, Kazemi and others who are fans of Yu Yu Hakusho. Just because Kurama is definitely not viable for high-level PvP, the fact of the matter is you're not going to be at high-level PvP anytime soon. So, just use him in PvE and have fun, like, fighting goblins and no-name soldiers. And then when the time comes for you to start playing Apex Arena, then throw him in your box and play against bronze-level players with him, as long as you're having fun. Just don't expect to compete for, like, you know, Apex playoffs with him. It's kind of the same reason I was running Transcender in Ladder, just because I find him, like, he's a funny unit that I like to have, but he's not great for serious PvP, or he wasn't then. I still don't think he is. There are a lot of people who desperately want him to be, based on tier lists and such, but my experience with him, which is fairly extensive, not very satisfying. Neijin, there aren't that many viable, like, mono-faction gimmick boxes, even with the good factions. Although, that said, I did just get defeated by a mono-faction Empire box, but that's something that Whir has been playing for a long time and is really good at. Alright, so Junnie's doing his AoE one-person trick again. We saw him do this in his match against Will. Yeah, and that is an easy kill for a Holy Kyra. Almost counter-killed, almost, but not quite. Yeah, I'm not sure what Junnie's hope was there. Was he banking on the counter kill for that Kyra? Like, he knew he put her in Kyra range. And all he did was AoE a single Watham who got all his debuffs dispelled by this Kyra. I'm not sure what the hope was with that. Unless it's literally just stalling these units' skills out before Oboro comes into play, but you're not going to 1v5 this team with Oboro. Alright, Ham's coming in. He's got his air slash, so he's going to be able to reach and kill someone. He's going to try to take this Oboro out before it's out of the cradle. Not successful. That's the Junnie bulk Oboro coming into play again. Nothing can reach if Junnie were able to punish this Ham somehow. Yeah, like Kampa said, the Kyra is now nerfed. Not sure if he kills it with this IBC, with the sword up. I think if you used 11 pulls and summoned Watham, and you've been watching these Apex matches, you probably don't need to ask if he's good. But if you're more interested in how he's good, you can go ahead and go back and watch my Should You Summon episode on Watham. There's a recent one from a couple weeks ago. Junnie running down the clock trying to figure out what to do about this Watham. In terms of, like, guides, I don't know about this, Junnie. Yeah, no, not quite. So is Trin gonna get that Watham out of there, or is he just gonna kill the Oboro now? Oh, he body blocks with Kyra, that's smart. Body blocking is smart. It also heals a little bit. I think that was a fine play to use Kyra to do that. She may go down here, but that's fine because she's nerfed anyway. He's going to stay on the tree, but he's injured now, so maybe this IBC finishes that kill off. Kazemi, in terms of, like, guides, there's not really much in terms of, like, big written guides. If you're around level 50, then you've already picked up how to play. I would say one of the videos in my Tips for Beginners playlist is just about the things, the various pieces of, like, team upgrading that you need to pay attention to. There are some things that people often forget about, like upgrading their gear, or upgrading their bonds, upgrading their troop training. Those things are very important. So there are also just a lot of other kind of, like, scattered, separate resources that are good. Like, Jiraxis has a guide all about equipment. So when you get equipment, it's a really good, handy reference to be able to check and see if it's a piece of gear that you really want to save and hold on to. And most of these guides and things are available on the Discord, or I think they've been posted on Reddit as well. Okay, so the Ham is dead. It cost Junnie 2 units. But he does still have his healer. He does still have an Oboro, who's certainly going to get to transform at 4 stacks. And he also has IBC. Kyra still has enough friends to be useful here until Junnie kills this sword, but even then, Sissy's able to summon more friends. Her skill's only on a 2-turn cooldown. Trinhuv is going to have his own Oboro up soon. And, of course, there's always Epsilon waiting back here in the wings, patiently gathering stacks. So, I don't know. It's really going to be a question of if this Junnie Oboro can carry the day against 3 dangerous DPS units. He has to get in to kill someone, and that will open him up to being counter-killed by someone else. Yeah, this is one of the things about the trade game, right? Is you need to be able to trade, make better trades and more positive trades for your team than the opponent. If you only have one weapon that you can throw in and sacrifice, and it leaves the opponent with 2 more DPS, then you're not trading up. Ding saying there's no question it was over after Rosen pick and Kruger throw. Yeah, I agree. If he had been able to get something straight out of that Kruger, like if he chucked him in and he was able to then take the Watham or the Kyra right then maybe. And if he had Werner here instead of Rosen, trading's a little bit easier for him, but this is looking pretty uneven here now. Mingzilla, Holy Kyra has been a popular build ever since she first came out. Mine's been Holy the entire time. The main difference is that she can cap her crit rate, so it's a good way to secure the crits that she needs to get kills. Yeah, Kazemi, if you auto-battled through like the first 50 levels and you're not exactly sure how to play, then I would say definitely check out my Tips for Beginners video, because it will summarize the things that you need to go back and look at on your characters to make sure that they're not wimps. I can probably grab the link to that video and drop it in the chat, since it's my own chat, so it's not uncouth. Okay, Oboro's coming out. Coming out to play. He's got terrain. I mean, I guess maybe that's why the Rosen 5th pick, because Junnie knows from the start his win con is going to be the Oboro. If Epsilon can't assassinate him, or if Trinhuv can't combo him off terrain, then he's going to need a healer to keep it topped up, right? But then the question is, what's stopping Trinhuv from just killing this healer? Starting with the Oboro is not a bad idea. Here we go. No, he's just taking up position. taking up a threatening position. Is this to bait the IBC? Is Oboro going to counter-kill this IBC? What's going to happen? Nope. Explode? Yep. She's dead, right? Yep. Okay. So it was pretty much a bait, I think. That's a decent trade for Trinhuv. IBC down. Trinhuv's Oboro is down. He still has Epsilon. Epsilon only has the one attack skill, so he probably doesn't want to waste it on the Rosenseal. He's gonna combo the Oboro? What? That is it! Oh, Junnie. The whole point of that build is to be able to survive a Kyra. Wow. And that is the game. Trinhuv takes it over Junnie 2-1 after losing the first game. Claws back in Game 2 and Game 3. Ah, it was the desperate measures. Yeah, that's the thing. I guess you can build your Oboros to kind of barely survive Kyras, but then if you stack up your Kyra enough, I guess it overcomes. Now, I'm not sure if Junnie's is on T-Mats or not. We'll have to check. Oh, that's right, Ding. Ding's making a good point. The whole point is to be able to survive Kyra pre-transform, not after transform. Yeah. I mean, the backup timer might have tilted Junnie a little bit there as well. In terms of not really fully thinking that through. I mean, I knew that Trinhuv was going to have to, or try to rely on, like, comboing damage between Kyra and Epsilon there. So the fact that he was able to clean it up with just the Kyra, more power to him. Let's take a quick look at... I mean, those games were long. That's like 2 hours. So I don't know if there's any other games still on, but let's take a look at who won. So Hale beat Fresh Knight to advance to the top 16. Meow Sensei beat... Who was he playing? Noob? I think he was playing Noob. Top 16 for Meow, congrats. Auto Run, that one wasn't as surprising. I think we all thought Auto Run was going forward there. Irinoa beat MX to advance to the top 16, so that's another main quarter. Congrats. Actually, Hale and Meow Sensei and Irinoa are all main quarters, so pretty good showing so far. Cecil, another main quarter, advances to the top 16. Gall defeated Michelin Tire. Whir ended up defeating, I think it was Anomi? So I don't feel as bad about losing to Whir yesterday, knowing that he's gone on to be a top 16 player. I don't feel as bad there. Fei Fei advances. Ease. That's the real Alicia Simp, advancing over Namida. Raven advances over Tiamat. Trinhuv, we just watched, advanced over Junnie. Never Sid beat Ichiao. That may be an upset. I'm not sure who this is, but Ichiao is obviously a very consistent, good player. Okay, this guy's been in the top 16 before, so yeah, a strong track record in Apex. Group M. Clock advances. SCL advances, also another not super surprising one, another really strong and consistent player. Sophia advances as well. And in the last group, another main quarter, Red Guy goes on. Red guy. This is the farthest you've been, isn't it? Oh, Derek, thanks for the sub, by the way. Awesome. Yeah, oh no, Red guy's been in the playoffs several times. 1, 2, 3. 3 times in the playoffs before this, but never got through the first round. And now here he is looking at a big trophy, top 16. So let's take a look at the final brackets, how they shake down. So we're going to have Hale against Meow Sensei in a main chord battle. Auto Run versus Aranoa in an A-name battle. Cecil versus Gall. Whir versus Feifei. Ease versus Raven, Trinhuv versus Neversid, Clock versus SCL, and Sophia versus Red Guy. I'm not going to make predictions yet live on stream. I'll probably do a separate video of it, because that'll give me a little bit more time to go through the research and really have some good rationale and justifications for my predictions, rather than just guessing. So I'll save that for a separate video. And yeah, I guess Junnie and Trinhuv were the longest game. They were the last one to finish because everyone's actually all set. So thank you everyone for stopping by. Thanks again, Derek, for the sub. You get your name listed in lights beside that Wheel of Fate in my overlay. Yeah, thanks everyone for coming out. Thanks Jero for coming out and helping this new player make some decisions for himself. I will definitely be streaming some of these matches. I'm not sure which ones. Next Saturday when the time comes. I'm pretty sure I'm around. I'm pretty sure I don't have any Doberman stuff to do on Saturday, so we should have some more live Apex ready and waiting. Thanks for coming out, everyone. I'll catch you in the next one. Happy Langrissing.